Okay, so hello everyone. Today here we have a great day here because in this series of TESOL-Ukraine webinars that are led by real writers, we are really honored to have a star of poetry. Cecilia, since I met you, I kept Googling you all the time. It sounds strange, but now I'm going to share your website. And I already shared it with my colleagues. This is amazing how much you have done and how much you keep doing for this corner of the world, I should say. Yeah. So, and I believe that I have already introduced you a lot, but just a couple of words. Cecilia Woloch is a poet, a writer, a teacher, and a performer based in Los Angeles. Cecilia has not only written her own poems, which have been translated into many languages, but she is also a teacher. And she is here now to teach us and to share her knowledge of creativity. Also, Cecilia is I met her in the Fulbright, in the session with the Fulbright perspective students. And she is also a very welcoming person who helped so many people to go through interviews, and you could feel this human impact of hers. So I believe, Cecilia, I kept sharing knowledge about you in all our messengers all the time. So today we are welcoming Cecilia for the session on word games and love songs. And that's hands-on workshop will provide us with tools for using creative writing exercises. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Marina, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm really happy to be with you today. I'm in Los Angeles. It's mid-morning here. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. The sky is a little bit gray, but the sun will come through very soon. And something I'll just tell you about myself is that somehow I've managed to live my whole life as a poet. I think it was maybe by accident, but I've managed it. My paternal grandmother came from this borderlands area between Poland and Ukraine, a small village that was evacuated during Aksha Wisła, if you know about this, the village called Wisła Wielkie. And my grandmother did not, she signed her name with an X. And sometimes I step back and I think, oh, my grandmother did not read or write, as far as I know, and I never knew her. And I make my living somehow by reading and writing. So it seems to me miraculous, and I wonder what she would think. Can
I ask just one question?
Sure, yes.
I kept telling my relatives and my friends about you, and they said, she's not Woloch, she should be Woloch.
It is Woloch.
Yeah, it is Woloch. Of course, it is translated as Woloch in Ukrainian, and in all our sources, it's Ch. But everyone kept saying it should be K.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, so.
Yeah. Here we say Woloch, but in Poland they say Woloch, which is probably closer. But what I know about my father's father, who was killed before my father was born in the US. I have a very crazy family story that gives me a lot of material for writing. But my father's father was killed by a cop before my father was born. And he was probably Vlach from Wallachia originally, these shepherds who came from Wallachia and settled among the Rus in the Carpathians. So that's one of the reasons I've spent so much time in that part of the world, is looking for that story, is to try to find out about that story, which is fascinating. So I'm somebody who loves stories. I believe that everyone has so many stories. I'm interested in the stories of everyone. But also the thing about me to know, and the thing about poets to know, is I'm completely in love with language. Poets are people who are passionate about words, love language, love to play with words, explore with words, make discoveries in the process of putting words together in unusual ways. Most of all, we like to surprise ourselves. A very young poet, I think he was 6 years old, once told me, well, a poem is when a bunch of words get together and throw a surprise party for each other. And I said, okay. So that's what I hope we can do today. Now listen, you watermelons. If any thieves come, turn into frogs. It's a poem by the Japanese poet Issa. I think it's from the 16th or 17th century. Now listen, you watermelons. If any thieves come, turn into frogs. If you allow that part of your mind to make the pictures, you'll see something quite amusing and quite magical. A green watermelon sitting on the ground, sprouting legs in the front and legs in the back and eyes, and leaping away from thieves. As a young poet, I spent about 10 or 15 years working with children and young people as a poet in the schools. I worked with many ESL students whose first language was not English, students from China and Korea and Armenia, and a lot of children from Central America who were refugees. These children taught me so much about language and imagination and poetry and creativity and life. And what I did was I took what I learned from those children and young people, and then I began to teach in universities, to teach in graduate programs, to teach adult poets and writers, because really the same exercises and the same principles apply. One important lesson I learned was the importance of making mistakes, okay, which is a key to using words in original ways. If you're afraid of making a mistake, you're never going to do anything that hasn't been done before. Aristotle said, you can teach someone how to write poetry. The only thing you can't really teach is metaphor. Do you know what a metaphor is? Does everyone? Okay. He said, you can't teach metaphor because a metaphor is what happens when the mind catches itself in the act of making a mistake. That's when metaphor happens. It's like two plates kind of slipping and jarring, and the mind starts to connect two things that have never been connected before to make something new, a new connection, a new way of seeing. I think children do this so naturally. What adults do is our mind starts to make that mistake and we stop. We can't say that. That doesn't make sense. That's crazy. We can't do that. but children will go ahead and do it. So I encourage people, when you feel those plates colliding in your mind, to listen, to pay attention, to let it happen, to allow your mind to do that. The artist Robert Rauschenberg said, being an artist is a matter of learning to make the right mistakes. Okay. I find not only that children are really good with this, but language learners are good with this. Why? Because they're less familiar with and less inhibited by the rules. Okay. So this makes, I think, poetry an excellent tool for language learners who haven't yet mastered all those rules. And so they're freer to use words in original and surprising ways. They're also closer to the magic of metaphor. Metaphor, for me, is magical. For one thing, you can take something invisible and make it visible, right? People think, oh, poets have to write about something abstract, something important, something like love. Well, what's love? What's it look like? What's it smell like? What's love? So with a metaphor, you can take this abstract thing and you can turn it into something concrete, something visible, something you can hear. For instance, Robert Burns, the Scottish poet, said, love is a red, red rose. My love is a red, red rose. We've heard that yet. Charles Bukowski, the American poet, said, love is a dog from hell. A little bit less familiar, a little bit more surprising. Maybe you felt that way sometimes. A 9-year-old girl told me once, I am a saucer in the cabinet of love. 20 years later, I still think about that. I'm a saucer in the cabinet of love. So today I'm going to take you through a couple of exercises, word games, that I hope you'll be able to use with your students. But first, you're going to have to do them yourselves. And maybe you'll want to share the results with your students. I find that they love that. So don't worry too much about taking notes. Everything that I use today, I'm going to send to Marina so she can send it to you. It's all written down, so you don't have to worry about that. Just be with us and just focus on having some fun and surprising yourselves. Poems are made of words. You don't need a big idea to make a poem. You just need some words. It's what the American poet William Carlos Williams said. Poems are not made of ideas. They're made of words. Paintings are not made of ideas. They're made of paint. Okay. And poets also use words to paint pictures, sometimes strange pictures. Okay. So I'm going to give you a head start by giving you some words. Okay. I'm going to share my screen and put a big list of words I happen to love up on the screen for you to look at. And I just want to make sure I get this right and that everybody's going to be able to see it. And okay. Now I got to share my screen. Okay. It says my screen sharing is paused. Any idea why that would?
Maybe you minimized the window that you're sharing?
No. Let me try again. All right. It's right here. I'll try again. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Are you able to read all those words? There are more than 100.
Yes, yes.
Starting with Paris and ending with wink,
Yep.
including tangle, undertaker, apricot, satellite. I love these words. These are just some of my favorite words, okay? So each one of you can have 7 of them, okay? Any 7 you want, but I don't want you to think about it too much, because in poetry, we want to kind of jump over that rational mind sometimes. So take 7 words, write them down on a piece of paper or type them onto your screen. Write them down on a piece of paper so that they don't go away. The only thing is I'm going to start my timer and you have 1 minute. So grab the 7 words you can in 1 minute and write them down for yourself. Okay, you should have them. Has everybody got her 7 words or his 7 words? Okay, you have some interesting combinations of words. I'm just going to pick somebody out. I see Tatiana Harlitska. What 7 words do you have?
Okay, hello. I have such words as melt, sweetly, alarm, heat, glitter, skin, and hello.
Okay, say them again a little bit more slowly.
Yeah. Melt,
Melt, nice
Sweetly.
verb, yeah.
sweetly.
What was the second?
Okay, did you hear me?
No, I'm sorry.
Sweetly,
Mm,
alarm,
mm,
heat,
mhm,
glitter,
mm,
skin,
mhm.
and halo.
Ooh, wow. I never heard melt and sweetly together before. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, anybody else want to share the word list, the words you chose with us? Nina of Karova, what 7 words do you have?
Nina Ovcharova, actually. Yeah. I have 7 words, and just to your attention, please. That's orchid, vanish, darkness, kiss, blossom, lonely, and silence.
Ooh, sounds romantic, doesn't it?
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
That's my mood.
7
Yeah, this is how I feel. Yeah.
how 7 words can evoke that? Okay, I'd like to hear one more. Who else has 7 words we can hear? Ella, you're smiling up there in the screen, and then we'll hear Yelye Savet.
You can call me Liz.
Liz. Okay, well, Ella and then Liz. Ella, what are your 7 words?
Hello. Paris,
Mhm,
blush,
mhm,
violin,
mm,
dusk,
mm.
foxtrot,
Ooh,
kiss, and bonfire.
ooh, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Foxtrot, everyone knows what the foxtrot is, right? It's a kind of
Yeah.
funny, kind of old-fashioned dance, you know?
Yeah.
Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers about Paris and bonfire and foxtrot. Ooh,
And
that's
kiss.
And Kiss, of course. Kiss.
Yeah, city of love, Paris. Yeah.
City of Love. Liz, what do you have?
Yeah, my words are melt,
Mhm.
sweetly,
Mm,
ren,
mm,
vanish,
mm.
always, silence, and thunder.
Ooh, sounds mysterious, right?
I was
Vanish.
kind of inspired by some of the main characters from the story I'm working on right now.
Could be another way to work on your story.
Yeah.
Now, the thing you might not realize, or maybe you do, is that poets work this way all the time. You know, we work this way just sometimes from a handful of words. I'll give you some examples. This is a poem by a friend of mine, a kind of well-known poet named Suzanne Lummis. And she only had 3 words that she had to use. Would you like to see the poem as I read it, or are you fine with just listening?
Both.
Okay. All right. So let me see if I can share this. I don't want to get too hung up, but it's the one thing I like about Zoom that you can. All right. Here we go. All right. So this is Suzanne Lummis's poem, and it's called Poem Using the Words Corduroy. You know what corduroy is? Okay. Poem using the words corduroy, wolves, and Bulgaria. Turns out to be a poem about divorce. Okay. Poem using the words corduroy, wolves, and Bulgaria. The headlights fizzed and went out. As if comprehending a signal, the car jerked to a stop. We sat thunderstruck, staring at a sky littered with stars and a couple planets, one red, one blue. It was then I invented my famous epithets, the right words for this night, this quality of darkness. Bulgaria, I murmured. Constantinople. You didn't agree. You felt the matter was grave and not conducive to whimsy. There was no gas station in sight, and everything under the hood had suddenly broken. The alternator, the carburetor, the radiator cap. You got out and began banging around with a wrench. So this was the desert, flat as asphalt, with a wind rolling across, the cacti standing like poor unfortunates being held up by robbers. There might be wolves, I said, which frightened you horribly. Years later, in the court of divorce, this would be your major charge. I'd forced you to live for years in a constant state of alarm. And tonight, already, the whole marriage was falling apart. We discussed wolves and whether they lived in the desert, both of us shouting. Cad, I said, if this were the Arctic, you'd borrow my corduroy jacket if I had one, leaving me indigo blue in the cold. This last remark made you shout louder. You broke the clutch. Somehow the stick shift came off in my hand. Emasculator, you sobbed. Bulgaria, I wept. Constantinople. These were insults this time, and you knew it. Whatever your failings, Harry, you knew me well. So it's kind of wacky. She throws these poems in, these words in that don't really belong, like Bulgaria, I wept. So she's using them in a kind of a crazy way. But poems don't have to make sense in the usual way. And she manages to tell a story. That's one way to do this. This is one way poets will take, okay, you've given me 3 words. How can I make these words fit together? The 7 words you have, they must go together somehow because they all chose you, right? Or you chose them. So your task is to discover how they're connected or to make them connected, put them together in unusual ways, juxtapose. Here are some poems written by children, actually, that use this technique. The first is called The Evening. It uses the poem using the words Mississippi, daffodils, masquerade, bacteria, glisten, saxophone, and dawn. The evening. The still of night has come. The Mississippi's banks are quiet. The daffodils blow in the wind, their faces of blue, purple, and orange, a masquerade. Algae bacteria float on top of the water. It glistens in the moonlight like tiny stars on a moving sky. The swans are honking softly, like the sound of light brass saxophones. And then the break of dawn is here, my love. It was written by Vanya Kornick, who was about 9 years old. So maybe you know that Picasso said, I had to paint all my life to learn to paint like a child. This is a poem, I'm going to read you two more, Kiss. This is a poem by a high school student here in Los Angeles, using the words affectionate, kiss, breath, damp, blush, fool, and dragon. She gave me an affectionate kiss. Her breath was damp and humid. When the kiss was over, I blushed with pride, and I felt like a fool that had been kissed by a dragon. And finally, I'm going to share two more with you, but this one is a 7-word poem that was written by Sebastian Pauser, and this was from a workshop I did in Germany with a group of theater professionals. So he was a theater professional, and you'll maybe recognize the 7 words that he had to embed in this poem. 7-word poem. The thunder was a welcome attack on the summer's heat that seemed infinite. Gazing at the sky, I felt no sign of alarm. The lightning meant no harm, and the raindrops falling down tasted like the sound of violins on my tongue. It seems quite magical to me. It's kind of a poem about the weather. The thunder was a welcome attack. We would probably expect the thunder was a welcome relief, but he had to use the word attack. So he made it more original. The thunder was a welcome attack on the summer's heat. Gazing at the sky, I felt no sign of alarm. The lightning meant no harm. And the raindrops falling down tasted like the sound of violins on my tongue. It's what we call kind of a beautiful mistake, that rain could taste like a sound. I think it's beautiful. The last poem I'm going to share with you was written by a teenage girl in a workshop I was leading in Chengdu, China. So her English was limited, but she had this list of words, and she chose these words. I think you'll recognize them when they come up. And she put them together in a way that made a whole different kind of sense. Her name was Olivia, and this is called Uzbek Girl. Do you know what the English word woo means? W-O-O?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So woo is like when you, I don't know, you want to make somebody love you, you woo them. Uzbek girl. Don't woo that Uzbek girl, even though she winks like summertime violets steal my nose. She enjoys dancing on the balcony, Her tutu illuminates the drizzling rainy night. I can hear her giggling at the joke. Sounds like the nightingale playing the drums. Oops, she slips into the brambles. The branches crush her tutu, ridicule her foolish. Don't woo that Uzbek girl who blurs my dream, bumps my heart. So it's surprising, and it's, who blurs my dream. I think sometimes when we're falling in love with someone, they can blur our dreams. Bumps my heart. We hear breaks my heart, makes my heart skip a beat, but bumps my heart is more arresting and more fresh. So I'm going to give you the same guidelines I gave to these students. Your job is that you have to use the 7 words you chose together in a poem that's at least 7 lines long. You can see from the poems on the screen, and you probably know from reading poetry, that poems are usually written in lines. It's a row of words that sound good together, okay? That's really the simplest way to explain a line of poetry. So, but if you want to write it as a paragraph, that's okay too. Don't make it too long, don't make it too short. Use each of the words in your list at least 1 time, okay? You can use them several times each. You can change the endings a little bit. You can add an S to make it plural, or ing to make a verb into a gerund. You can change the endings a little bit, but you have to find a way, the way they go together. Even if you're not sure what a word means, you can use it according to how it sounds to you. You can use sound to put the words together. Well, this sounds good together. I'm just going to put it, like that. The other thing is, and you can use any other words in the English language that you want to use, okay? And I'm putting this word list back up on the screen just in case you want to add some extra words, but you have to use the 7 words you chose, or that chose you, okay? And you have 13 minutes, okay? So you have to be not too careful, all right? If you want to turn off your camera or your audio while you do this, that's fine with me, but I'm going to be right here, and I will call you back in 13 minutes. So have fun. Any questions? Okay. So, did anyone have a surprise? Larissa,
What do you mean by
happened?
surprise?
I don't know. What happened when you put these words together? Anything you didn't expect? Larissa, what were the words you had? Larissa? Don't know if she can hear me. Larissa Haponenko. No, you can't hear me? Okay.
I think she froze.
Oh, she's frozen. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Olena, what 7 words did you have?
Hello, everybody. So my choice was megapolis, illuminate, vanish, alarm, sorrow, whisper, sensible.
What was the last word?
Sensible.
Sensible. So what did you do with those words? Can we hear what you wrote?
Yes, and to tell you the truth, I have 2 variants. One
Okay.
of them is my own, and another one is suggested by ChatGPT. So,
Oh, wow. I never even thought of that. Okay. So which one do you want to read first?
okay, I don't know which one do you prefer to be first.
I would like to hear yours.
Okay, let it be. But to tell you the truth, I have never tried before myself in poetry. So it's my first attempt. So my own variant sounds like this. The megapolis illuminates my thoughts and ideas, bringing sorrow and alarm, making them vanish and sensibly whispering me to come.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. Let's hear what ChatGPT did.
Okay, just a minute. I'll open.
I'm just curious.
Yes, well, but to tell you the truth, I like it.
Okay.
Well, just a minute, I'm reading. So, in the megapolis where shadows loom, whispers of dreams and sorrow bloom. Streetlights illuminate paths we tread, yet in the chaos, hopes can vanish instead. An alarm of silence in the bustling throng, sensible hearts must learn to be strong, finding light in the dark where we belong.
Mm. I think that yours is more original.
Thank you.
I do. Does anybody disagree? You can disagree with me if you like.
No,
Irina,
I feel like by nature of ChatGPT, it's like it really relates to what you were saying earlier, Cecilia, that like when you're given the right to make mistakes, you make these incredible metaphors that nobody has ever heard before. But by the nature of ChatGPT, because it takes like from what already exists, it cannot really make anything like that. So like all the metaphors, like it is quite beautiful because it's sort of it is outsourced from already existing poetry, but it's very predictable and just nothing new there.
Great. Thank you, Liz, for it's like when it becomes predictable, that's why we are always trying to surprise ourselves. And as poets, we're always trying to find ways to not be bored, and when things are predictable, they can be boring. So we're always looking for those surprises. Liz, do you want to read what you wrote?
Yes, I do. So my poem is titled Winter, and it goes a little something like this. You melt in the April snow, the wren crying your eulogy. So sweetly does he bestow the reward for your tragedy. For the 1000th time you vanish, though not without thundering lament. And as always, your swift return only with silence is met.
Lovely, lovely. Read it one more time.
Oh, okay. Winter. You melt in the April snow, the wren crying your eulogy. So sweetly does he bestow the reward for your tragedy. For the thousandth time you vanish, though not without thundering lament. And as always, your swift return only with silence is met.
Lovely, really lovely. I love
Thank
my
you.
favorite line is, for the thousandth time you vanish. It's a really evocative line. And
Thank
you could
you.
actually use that line to begin another poem.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually
Yeah.
use that line to begin a story.
Yeah, it's actually based on my characters. Character. And the poem is titled Winter, and that is that character's name, actually.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Joan Didion is a famous American writer. She actually just died about a year ago, and she said, I write entirely to find out what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing. And she said her most famous novel began because she saw a kind of picture in her mind, an image of a woman in a white mini dress in the lobby of a casino in Las Vegas, going up to what's called the house phone, where you can reach anyone in the hotel. And she said she wrote the whole novel to find out who that woman was and what she was doing. So
I actually feel the same. Like when I write either just like prose or songs, it always starts with some kind of like just a random thought. Like one of my first songs, I was thinking about a bird who was flying through a thunderstorm, and it crashed into a tree and fell to the ground with a broken wing. And so like that was sort of that was just like an image in my mind, and I sort of started going from that and wrote like one of my first songs, and it ended up being about my first heartbreak somehow, which I did not plan, but well,
yeah,
it's just
what you plan, it's never as good as what you discover. It's never as exciting as what you
absolutely.
discover. I'd like to hear one more of these, and then I'm going to get back to what Liz is talking about with image. So I don't know, Raisa, do you want to read what you wrote?
Well, I am the only race. I don't know.
I only saw one. Where's? Okay.
There are two of us, but do that, please.
I'm looking for Raisa again. Oh, she's turned her camera off.
Oh,
no, it's two
but
Raisa.
Raisa,
It's Domina.
Oh, it's me.
That's you.
Yeah. It's me. Yeah. Just like Olena's just story. It is my first attempt and my first experience in writing poems. And the words I chose: secretly, whisper, lonely, darkness, vanish, kiss, wink. Once at dawn, I heard a rose bush secretly whispering words of love to someone being extremely lonely, and darkness was vanished from the lonely soul, eliminating the world around, kissing, winking, and jumping.
Oh, read it again. I need to hear that last line again.
Once at dawn, I heard a rose bush secretly whispering words of love to someone being extremely lonely, and darkness was vanished from this lonely soul, eliminating the world around, kissing and winking and jumping.
Kissing and winking and jumping.
Jumping.
Great, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, so suddenly you can hear a rose bush whispering, and it might not make sense in the usual way, but it makes a lot of sense that you would hear a rose bush whispering words of love to someone lonely. Yeah. It's lovely. It's really lovely. Okay.
Thank you.
So, you know, you can take these same 7 words and see how many different poems you can make from them. You can turn them all different ways. You can choose 7 new words. Sometimes when I do this with students, I give them the paper and I don't let them see what's on the list until the last moment and then turn over the paper and just quickly choose the words. What's really fun is you can make up your own word list. You probably have your own favorite words in English, right? Because of the way they sound. Does anybody have some favorite word in English? Daria, do you have a favorite word in English?
Word, just one word,
Yeah.
probably include.
Include.
Perfect. I like the sound, not just the phonetic way.
Good. Yeah, sometimes we just like the word for its sound, or we dislike the word for its sound. I love the word ratatouille. You know, I just like it. You know, so Liz, you raised your hand. You have a favorite word?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the favorite words, but it's definitely a favorite word. It's dandelion.
Oh, yeah,
I
dandelion.
really like how it sounds, and like I have 3 reasons. I really like how it sounds. I really like the image that it evokes, because like it's a lion. That's so cool. Because in Ukrainian, it probably means something. In Ukrainian, it's kulbaba. And it probably means something, but I can't figure out that meaning just from the word alone, so it's not really the same. But in English, I can see this image of a lion. And the third reason is that when I just started learning English, I was pronouncing it dandelion. And yeah, it's just a fun memory of how I was mispronouncing it for some reason, and it took me like 5 years to figure out that I was wrong.
Oh, but I like that. Say it again, dandelion.
Dandelion.
Dandelion. Ooh, that's I like that. That's a great mistake. That's a wonderful mistake, dandelion. Yeah, and imagery. Okay, so poets are people who make pictures, paintings with words. And sometimes you don't even need an image to make a painting. Sometimes you only need a color. One color. We all know about Picasso's blue period, where everything in his paintings was blue. Poets do this too, believe it or not. I'm aware that we only have about 25 minutes left, so I'm not sure. I'm not going to read you. I'm going to read you this poem that's kind of a crazy poem. If it doesn't make sense to you, don't worry about it. This is a poem by an American poet of the mid-century. His name was Frank O'Hara. He worked at the big Museum of Modern Art in New York City. He liked to hang around with painters. And this poem, I'm going to share it with you, is actually about true events, about a true painting, a true friend of his, and it's called Why I Am Not a Painter. I am not a painter, I am a poet. Why? I think I would rather be a painter, but I am not. Well, for instance, Mike Goldberg is starting a painting. I drop in. Sit down and have a drink, he says. I drink, we drink, I look up. You have sardines, the word sardines, in it. Yes, it needed something there. Oh. I go and the days go by and I drop in again. The painting is going on and I go and the days go by. I drop in, the painting is finished. Where's sardines? All that's left is just letters. It was too much, Mike says. But me, one day I am thinking of a color, orange. I write a line about orange. Pretty soon it is a whole page of words, not lines, then another page. There should be so much more, not of orange, of words, of how terrible orange is, and life, Days go by. It is even in prose. I am a real poet. My poem is finished, and I haven't mentioned orange yet. It's 12 poems. I call it Oranges. And one day in a gallery, I see Mike's painting called Sardines. So, I don't know, poets and painters actually work alike in a lot of ways. So he took one color and kind of obsessed about the color orange, just the way Picasso kind of obsessed on the color blue. Here is a translation you should be able to see on your screen of a piece of a longer poem by Federico Garcia Lorca. You probably know about, you might know about him. He was a Spanish poet, actually was killed during the Spanish Civil War, but he was a poet and a playwright. He spent a lot of time in New York, and really a wonderful poet. So this is Somnambule Ballade, which means sleepwalker's ballad. And you'll see that color is what motivates, what color is what this poem's all about. Somnambule Ballade. Green, how much I want you green. Green wind, green branches, the ship upon the sea, and the horse in the mountain. With a shadow on her waist, she dreams on her green balcony. Green flesh, hair of green, and eyes of cold silver. Green, how much I want you green. Beneath the gypsy moon, all things look at her, but she cannot see them. Green, how much I want you green. Great stars of white frost, come with the fish of darkness that opens the road of dawn. The fig tree rubs the wind with the sandpaper of its branches, and the mountain, a filching cat, bristles its bitter aloes. But who will come, and from where? She lingers on her balcony, green flesh, hair of green, dreaming of the bitter sea. So mysterious, isn't it? So mysterious. It's kind of a love poem to the color green, but the poet sees green in all kinds of strange places. Someone on a green balcony with green hair and silver eyes. I gave this exercise to some students. You'll notice certain things in the poem besides the color. The color generates visual imagery. What you can do is take this color and make a list of all the things that are this color. Then maybe the things that aren't this color. The use of repetition creates a rhythm, creates a kind of music. Things are juxtaposed, as you did in your first poem. Things that aren't normally put together are put together. Green wind, hair of green. I'll read you a couple of poems written by students. This one, Black, Negro, this was written by a young woman named Gabrielle Mendez. She was in 8th grade, so she was about 13 years old. And her first language was Spanish. And she really loved Lorca's poem. And I read it to them in Spanish and in English. And she asked me, can I use Spanish and English together? And I said, yes, it's poetry. You can do anything you want. So she wrote this poem that's kind of a love poem to the color black, which in Spanish is negro. So you'll hear Spanish words, and I think you'll understand them. If not, I'll explain them later. Black, negro. Black, you are very misterioso. Negro, you relax me and you hide me. You show me your dark amor. Pero I still want you. No te me escondas. Come and hug me. I can see you in the light. So no te escondas en lo oscuro. Take me to you, eternal dark but beautiful darkness. Please no te veas depressed, porque I will make you happy, even though you are oscuro. Aunque people don't hang with you. Yo, sí, forever, para siempre, black, negro, my love, mi amor, my black knight, mi caballero oscuro. It's a very sexy poem to the color black. She says, come and hug me. Don't hide, don't be obscure. Don't be depressed. I'll make you happy. You're my love, my black knight, my caballero oscuro. So choose a color that you really love or that you really hate. And write down the color. And I'll read you a poem about the color gray, which some people might consider gray really boring. But this is Ode to Gray by Dorianne Laux. And she begins by just listing things that are gray and juxtaposing things. You notice nothing is a complete sentence. They're just phrases, fragments. In some ways, it's just kind of a list. Ode to Gray. Mourning dove, goose, catbird, butcherbird, heron. A child's plushed stuffed rabbit, buckets, chains. Silver, slate, steel, thistle, tin. Old man, old woman. The new screen door. A squadron of Mirage F1s dogfighting above ground fog, sprites, smoke. Snapshot gray, circa 1952. Foxes, rats, nails, wolves, riverstones, whales, brains, newspapers, the backs of dead hands. The sky over the ocean just before the clouds let down their rain. Rain. The sea just before the clouds let down their nets of rain. Angelfish, hooks, hummingbird nests, battleships, teakwood, seal whiskers, silos, railroad ties, mushrooms, dray horses, sage, clay, driftwood, crayfish in a stainless steel bowl, the eyes of a certain girl, grain. I find it kind of hypnotic. It's really just a list of things that are gray, but maybe we hadn't seen before as gray. That rain is gray, that railroad ties, rats, nails. So for this next exercise, choose a color, and you have two ways you can go with this. You can take the color and just immediately begin making a list of things that are that color or things that should be that color. Juxtaposing maybe something delicate followed by something harsh, a long line followed by a short one. Things can be mysterious. So make a list that keep it going as long as you can. Think of animals, birds, jewels, pieces of clothing, food, flowers. Look around the room you're in and find some more things to include that are that color. Try not to stop until you've surprised yourself several times. And listen as you write. Pay attention to the way the words sound and how they sound together. You can repeat to create a kind of rhythm, a kind of music. You can go farther by exploring, how does this color sound? How does this color taste? What is its texture? You can also speak to the color directly, as in an ode, as Lorca did. Green, I want you green. Black, you are so mysterious. So you can speak to the color directly at any point in the poem, or you don't have to. And you can mix in words from another language. Okay. So let's take about 8 minutes to, as quickly as you can, without thinking. I would always tell my students, don't think, see. Don't think, see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And see how you do. I will call you back at 25 after the hour so that we have just a few minutes to talk before we. Okay. So have fun. Paint anything you want with this color. Okay, we have just a few minutes to hear some of these. I was looking in the chat, reading some people posted some wonderful things in the chat. Galina Sapro wrote, "Why do you think about his kiss on your lips? Once in Paris, once in the boulevard, once in the dusk, once there were violins, once. Now it's only a whisper on your lips." It's beautiful that just the repetition of the word once creates such a sense of longing and regret. Just the repetition of that one word. It's really, really beautiful. This is one by Nadia. Maybe you've seen it in the chat. Nadia Cherkashina. Luxurious, glittering apricots sweetly swaying on that tree like a magnetic field attracting kids to try. Tomorrow they are all at the marketplace, whispering, inviting us to buy. Hypnotized, ashamed of desire, I reluctantly go to bed. It's wonderful, really surprising. All right, who has a color poem they would like to share? I'm looking for someone who hasn't shared before, who might raise her hand. Whoops, I saw a hand go up. Whoops. Olena, was that you raising your hand? Olena Ilienko? I think.
No, not me.
Okay,
It's,
how about
Marina
Marina Kornilovich?
Kornilovich.
Marina, would you read for us, please? Share your poem.
Yes, maybe it looks a little bit childish, but I rhymed it. I love to rhyme the poems.
Good.
Orange, my favorite color is orange. Orange is an orange, can be put in porridge. Orange sunset, color sky, orange fox, and orange eye. Orange cover of my phone, orange carrot, orange throne. Orange pumpkin in the fields, orange dress, and orange kills. Orange cup and orange plate, something orange to create. Orange makes you live and strong, holy thought and holy song. Happiness is orange too. Smile, laugh, love, and pray. Happiness is orange ray. Smile and love and pray. Something like that.
Beautiful. Read this again. I love especially the orange pumpkin in the field, orange dress, orange heels. It's one of the things about using rhyme in English is very limited in the number of words that rhyme. So it's very difficult to write rhyme in English that is not predictable. But you did it. You did it. I know lots of poets writing in English all their lives who can't do it, but read it again very slowly and clearly as you did.
From the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay. Orange is an orange, can be put in porridge. Orange sunset, color sky, orange fox, and orange eye. Orange cover of my phone, orange carrot, orange throne. Orange pumpkin in the fields, orange dress and orange kilts, orange cup and orange plate, something orange to create. Orange makes you live and strong, holy thought and holy song. Happiness is orange array, smile and laugh and love and pray.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. People are clapping for you. It's wonderful. It's really such a strong poem. Every line of it is really strong. And it's because you have these juxtapositions that, are just, like I said, the pumpkin in the field, the dress and the heels, It's a holy song. It's a, and you even rhymed porridge with orange, which is amazing. It's a nice, what would call maybe a kind of a slant rhyme or an
Thank you
off.
very much. Thank you.
Yeah, publish it.
Thanks.
That one's ready for prime time, as we say. We're kind of at our time, but is there one person who, Liz, I see your hand is up, but I'm looking for someone who hasn't yet had a chance to share, who might want to share what she wrote. Oh, good. Ella, please. What's your color?
And I have chosen yellow.
Great.
It's not rhymed this time. Yellow sun, yellow sunflower, yellow sunflowers in Van Gogh's paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance of yellow narcissus.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow in the rainbow illuminates the earth and tenderly touches everyone, makes all feel warm and everything fragrant.
Oh, beautiful. Read it again.
Thank you.
Read it again one more time. It's short.
Yellow sun, yellow sunflower, yellow sunflowers in Van Gogh's paintings. Abundance of yellow narcissus. Yellow in the rainbow illuminates the earth and tenderly touches everyone, makes all feel warm and everything fragrant.
Wonderful. Can anybody
Thank you.
say what the magic is there? I just yellow sun, and then you extend it in the next line, yellow sunflowers. So you're using repetition and variation like a musician does. Yellow sunflowers in the painting of Van Gogh. And from the sunflowers, we go to the abundance of other yellow flowers. And from abundance, we go to tenderness, which is just lovely. And from tenderness,
that's what the word triggered those images. Yeah.
Well, you can do this with every color. You can do it with colors you love and colors you don't love. There are lots of, when I send the materials to Marina to share with you, there'll be other model poems that I didn't have a chance to read because there's so many different poems that use color in this way. So I'll share those with you. I wish we had more time, but maybe we'll have a chance to do it again. There are, other wonderful exercises, but this, I guess, to give you a start, because I think that, as I said, language learners, people who are not native speakers of a language, they are less inhibited if you give them permission to be imaginative, to make mistakes, which is another way of saying be original. And it's empowering, I think, to use language, to make something creative. It gives you it gives you a relationship with the language that's based on something different. It's a different kind of mastery of the language, I think. If I may take a minute or two, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer questions.
I sort of have a question and a not question, statement. I wanted to say, first of all, just thank you, because it's so enchanting to listen to you, how you talk about poetry. And it's just, I don't know, I don't really talk to many people who also like write things. And so it's just, it's really cool just listening to you, just how you see poetry, how you see writing. It's just, it was great to sort of get this insight into poetry from you.
Thank you, Liz.
And I also wanted to ask you a question. I sort of, when I write my songs, it's mostly like I just get this burst of inspiration, and it feels like I sit down and I start writing, and then I pass out, and then I wake up with a song already written. And it feels like I have these ideas and these ambitions that I want to write my own album, for example, but I can't seem to sort of make myself write songs. And if I wait for that inspiration to strike, it's gonna take me 50 years to write an album.
I don't, you know what William Faulkner said in writing? He said, I find in writing habit is a much stronger force than either inspiration or willpower.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that poets, writers are people who you just sit down and do it every day. And even if I don't feel inspired, well, I give myself an exercise. You know, I'll write about the color green. I'll give myself an exercise. And even though I'm thinking, oh, it's just an exercise, often that becomes a poem. So that's my personal attitude. You just have a habit. Give yourself, you know, the world asks so much of us. You're in Ukraine. I can't even imagine what those of you who are in Ukraine, what the world around you is asking of you. But if you can carve out for yourself a little time each day. Robert Hass, the poet Robert Hass, said, if you're a poet, you can do your life's work in 20 minutes a day. If it's every day, 20 minutes. And for me, I grew up in a big family, lots of people around me. So to take my journal and to kind of go into a corner or just give myself that little bit of time away. And for me, Liz, it's kind of like a ritual. You know, I might light a candle, I might say a little prayer to myself and just write whatever comes to mind. It can just be a bunch of nonsense, or it can be something, you know, from deep in my heart. It doesn't matter. I just practice think about it as a musician. They don't wait for inspiration. They practice every day. Think about a dancer. She doesn't wait for inspiration. She's got to exercise those muscles every day. So just think about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes when we put too big of a pressure on ourselves, oh, and I have to write something good. No, you don't have to write something good. Make a mistake. Write something crazy. And have fun and look at this poem about orange. It's like, this happens every time I teach a workshop. Usually people will get some great things going, and then somebody just has a whole poem, every word is in place. You know, maybe it's lucky break, but I think if you show up every day for 20 minutes, that will happen. You know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Marina, if you would send me that poem, I would really appreciate it, or send it to Marina and she can, because I'd like to add it to my list of examples that I use.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
And I will send Marina, you know, within 24 hours, these materials so that you'll have them if you want to use them with your classes, and maybe we'll have a chance to see each other again. Okay.
We would love to.
Well, we'll just figure out a time and we'll do it. Okay.
It would be great.
Next semester or any other time. Yeah, when you can do it, we would love to have you again.
Okay. All right. Well, this time usually works okay for me. I often stay up very late at night writing, so it's a little bit, I have to adjust my schedule here. Is that a hand raised, Irina? Irina, you have a question?
It is just my positive reaction to what I've heard from Marina.
Oh, we're clapping. Okay. Well, it's my positive reaction to you too. Thank you so much for your openness and your willingness to jump into this, and for what you've written. I'm going to save the chat if I can. I think Marina, you can.
I will save it and send to everyone.
Oh yeah, because now here are more poems in here. Dark black shadow followed her whisper. Black eyes were staring from everywhere. It's wonderful. There's green. Liz, is that you, the green? And
yeah, that's me.
Okay, great. Oh, wonderful. One's a mixture of 3 languages: English, French, and Russian. Wow, fantastic. Great. So yeah, so Marina and I will figure out a time and we'll meet again. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
That
Thank
would be
you.
great.
Marina, I'll be in
Thanks a
touch with
lot.
these materials, and if you have a poem you'd like to share with me, send it to Marina and she'll send it to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Session.
Thank you.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
to meet all of you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
See you next
Thank
time.
you.
See
Yeah,
you.
see you next
Bye.
See
time.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Mhm.